Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paul Weymouth, and we're going to talk about In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. I initially wanted to create two videos talking about the first half and then the second half, but I decided just to do it for the whole book since it's a relatively short book, and also there wasn't really a stopping delineation point in the book that I felt was comfortable to talk about one half versus the other half. So Carmen Maria Machado is a short fiction, speculative fiction writer. Her most popular book is Her Body and Other Parties, which is a collection of her short fiction. And this here is actually a memoir talking about her abuse with a same-sex relationship. So Machado, in her own words in the book, describes herself as bisexual, identifies herself as being bisexual, and she entered a relationship and it ended up being an abusive relationship, and she wants to talk about it in her memoir. And what I really found really amazing about this memoir is the way that it's written. There are very small sections. Some are as little as like this one over here, but others are 4 or 5 pages. And she uses the metaphor of the dream house as a way to spotlight or highlight the things that are happening in her life when it comes to her sexuality, but also the abuse that she is having with her girlfriend, and also pointing at popular culture and how LGBT individuals are seen in popular culture. And it is a very well written book. She mixes her prose from her speculative fiction into the writing of the memoir in a way that makes it seem dreamlike, but she's talking about real things. And she also interweaves essays within the memoir of herself to talk about things that she was dealing with while she was going through this ordeal, and to highlight different things in our culture that might actually add to the reasons why this type of abuse is prevalent. I don't know if prevalent's the right word, but why this type of abuse happens. Now, it starts out with her talking about growing up and who she was. She talks about her Christian background. She talks about a very unhealthy relationship with an assistant pastor that was much older than her. And it also talks about how she went to college and how she was finding out who she was. And, she was very open about her own insecurities and her own issues. And when she meets the abuser, they fall pretty much madly in love. It's a very wild, passionate love. There is a lot of sex in the story, and they really just can't get enough of each other. But as the relationship goes on, there are like little signs that her girlfriend is trying to manipulate her or try to make her feel bad, and definitely uses gaslighting to make Carmen believe that something is wrong with her when the real issue is with her girlfriend. And this progresses as their relationship progresses. Carmen believes that, possibly that you could love somebody and hope for them to change and have them get help and have them change. And it's this struggle throughout this entire book of, when do you give up on somebody? When do you say to them, okay, this is enough? I'm not going to let somebody treat me like this anymore. It's so difficult because when we love somebody and we care about them, we want to try to help them. And a lot of times, walking away from that person, we think in our mind that that's not helping them, when we should be thinking about ourselves as well. What can we do to help ourselves in this situation? And I think what Machado does really well here is she doesn't make a lot of excuses why she's still in the relationship when she's being treated this way. She does such a good job of describing her personality that it just kind of makes sense that she is in this relationship and she stays in it. The crippling anxiety that she has because of this relationship just makes her kind of give up. And it's a real eye-opening, because when you read or hear about these type of relationships, you think, oh, why can't they just leave? Why can't they just get out of that relationship? But they're, for one, a lot of times they're dependent on that person, like with this with her story. And also other times you just can't muster the energy, the courage to do it, because you're dealing with your own mental illness that's usually caused by the emotional abuse. So it's a very circular issue. This was a fantastic memoir. It was written beautifully. I think that in years to come, people will look back on this as one of the breakthrough memoirs that really played with the way it's written and how people go about framing a story and creating essays and information within the memoir, within the story. I think that it's going to be a long-lasting memoir that people are going to be reading like a decade or two in the future. I think that if you have anxiety and reading about emotional abuse is something that would trigger that anxiety, so you need to be careful of this book, because I myself, while reading this, I can definitely kind of feel myself getting a little bit anxious while I was reading it, and I don't really have an anxiety issue that I know of. So it was, in that regards, a difficult book to read, but I am so happy that I read it. I would recommend it to anybody that's interested in same-sex abuse stories, survivor stories from abuse, and just if you're interested in becoming who you are and believing in who you are after a strong or a long ordeal of a toxic relationship, that this is something that would help you get over that hurt, that toxic relationship. So if you're looking for something like that, pick this book up. So I enjoyed it. I will definitely be reading her short story collection. I already put it on hold at the library, so hopefully I'll be reading that probably next month. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys watching and supporting me. I'll talk to you all later.